Hey everyone, welcome to Bookish Nook, and today I'm doing a review of Alexandra Bracken's The Darkest Minds. This is the first of a trilogy that is not yet completed. If you have not read this book, do not stick around for a synopsis. Do not go read a synopsis. You should go read this right now with going into it without any idea of what it's about. And that's how I read The Darkest Minds, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Fantastic. Alexandra Bracken is brilliant. So definitely go check that out. For those of you who are not taking my advice and want to hear a synopsis, this book is about a girl named Ruby, and we follow her throughout the entire novel. And essentially, the world has been plagued by a new sort of disease, I guess you can call it, and once you hit puberty around the age of 10, you either die or develop powers. And these powers don't really have a name. They're sort of identified as colors. So there's blue, green, red, yellow, and orange. I'm not going to tell you what these colors mean. So we follow her, and all these kids get brought to a camp if they develop these powers. And it's sort of like a work camp, and they're completely cut off from everyone. They're given a schedule, a uniform, and they're told not to talk. It's horrible. And Alexandra Bracken does a fantastic job of conveying how horrible and depressing it is in these camps. Now, I can't emphasize how much I loved Alexandra Bracken's writing in this book. She does a fantastic job of conveying each of the characters' feelings and the overall feeling of the world without directly telling the reader what it is to feel. There's a few times I had to take a break from reading this book because of how sad and depressing it is that this world that these kids are faced to live in. So if you're looking for a dark read, go no further, because this is probably one of the darkest books I've ever read. Now for the spoilery part of the review. What I really liked about this book in terms of plot was that it moved at a nice pace. There were a few lulls in between big action sequences, but those were filled with character development, and I love character development, if you haven't already noticed. What I really liked about this book was the introduction of the Children's League. You see this mysterious doctor, and she gives Ruby 2 pills to take at night. Ruby goes on a limb and follows her instructions and finds out about the Children's League. Now, this is a league of people who are against the camps that the children are in. Ruby has the power to sort of read people's memories, etc. So she reads the memories of one of the league members and sees that they killed 2 kids, so she decides to run. And she finds a little girl and chases after her when she starts running, and is pulled into their van with a boy named Liam and a boy named Chubbs. Now, Liam and Chubbs are by far the best characters of this book, along with Ruby. I really enjoyed Chubbs. He's really skeptical of her at the beginning, but by the end of the book, he loves her, sort of like a sister. And then Liam, of course, is her love interest, who is a born leader. Just the way he acts and the way he directs people, and he refuses to show weakness in front of anyone. That's why he always decides to go away to express his feelings. So I really enjoyed that about Liam's character. He is a born leader. When we see Ruby in the beginning of the book, she has been in this camp for 6 years, and she's been completely segregated from the opposite sex. So when she's faced with boys, she doesn't really know how to act, and she doesn't really understand their social cues. And one of those instances is when they're in the abandoned Walmart, and I can't remember his name, but he's like kind of feeling up her leg, and she kind of just allows him to, and she doesn't really understand what's going on. She's more worried about her reading into his thoughts and not wanting to do that. So that just conveys her obliviousness, because later on, Liam jumps in and asks her to take the little girl away so that they can go have some girl time. And then he says some offhanded comment later about them wanting to trade information for something, and when Ruby asks what, Liam refuses to tell her, so you can kind of understand what those boys were asking for, but Ruby doesn't pick up on it. Chubbs and Liam's goal is to get to the Slip Kid, who is this kid who is supposed to be all-knowing and is able to get in contact with the kid's parents. So their goal is to find him, and they're following clues. So Ruby goes along and helps them find the the slip kid, and it ends up being in East River. I think it is Virginia. I was really skeptical of the slip kid even before we even got to the East River because of how, convenient it was, housing all these kids, and how the skip tracers or something like that weren't able to find them all when there was hundreds of kids gathered in this camp. So I was really skeptical. So when we got there, you can't help but notice the parallels there are to this camp they're in now to the camps they were in before. And Chubbs points that out a few times to Ruby, but Ruby doesn't really see it because she's too entranced with Clancy and learning how to control her abilities. Now Clancy, I was very surprised to find out that he was the slip kid. You sort of get the clues of his picture all over, and now he's gone, and he only shows up here and there. So I was really surprised, and I really enjoyed that. He was sketchy from the beginning. I didn't really like him, but he was helping Ruby control her abilities. And once again, you see Ruby's obliviousness to social cues, and you can tell that Clancy is starting to like her, and she just goes on if nothing's wrong, because her mind is too wrapped up in controlling her abilities and Liam. The only time she can get social cues is from Liam, so that sort of shows you their bond and their relationship that they have. That bond is what makes the ending of this book so terrible and depressing and horrible. Oh my god. I heard that the ending of this book was really sad and depressing, but I wasn't expecting it to be that depressing. Clancy made this offhanded comment that Ruby can't control her abilities because she doesn't want to, and then she's given a reason to want to, and she does. And she ends up calling the League at the end and Liam offers their lives for Chubbs. And they agree, but then Ruby makes a deal for her life for Liam's. And I was thinking, how is she going to convince him to leave her? He's in love with her, and it didn't even cross my mind that she would take his memories away from her. That was horrible and gut-wrenching. After it was finished and Liam is just kind of all standoffish and brushing them off because he knows what the League is about, it was so gut-wrenching. Even Kate, or Katie, I don't know how to pronounce her name, even she thought it was depressing, and she's just kind of standing there in shock that Ruby actually did that. And that moment right there shows you how much Ruby has progressed as a character. The beginning of the book, she won't even stand up for her friend Sam. She's too scared of what she can do and everything. And now at the end of the book, she just took away the thing she cared about the most. She took her memories away from Liam and watched him walk away. What I'm really super nervous about in the next book is Ruby's character. I hope she doesn't lose herself to the point that she needs to be brought back in. Because at the end of the book, it talks about how she's becoming this angry person, and this angry person is the one who's going to be serving the League. But this other person, the one she is actually, is with Liam in his back pocket, as a metaphor. So I'm really nervous for her character progression in Never Fade, which I'm excited to read. So I hope you enjoyed my review. I definitely enjoyed The Darkest Minds. So thanks.